If there has ever been a subject which racks a storyteller's mind to the point of insanity, or at least frustration, it's finding the right music for their chronicles. I've seen a lot of creative uses of different soundtracks, but you also tend to see a lot of the same ones repeated over and over. Now, far be it from me for knocking someone for using the soundtrack from Bloodlines, Redemption, and Silent Hill 3, all of which are excellent choices, but they don't always have the same bite or personality for a scene or a theme. So in this video, let's talk about your next Chronicles soundtrack then, shall we? Now the first thing we need to establish is when and where is your chronicle taking place. That way, we can tie in the atmosphere and themes of your chronicle into the soundtrack. The reason for this is not every scene in your chronicle is necessarily going to be its own dedicated set piece. You're going to need a few songs which work for more generalized scenes, like a player waking up in their haven or hunting on the streets. So if your chronicle is taking place in the Dark Ages, you probably don't want the Bloodlines theme for Hollywood playing in the background, clashing with the scene. So let's cover a few artists that can cover you for your general themes and scenes, eh? Let's set ourselves in the modern nights. Glaring neon lights, gritty brick and mortar walls, rat-filled alleys, and overflowing dumpsters packed to the gills with trash, with homeless people lurking in the shadows of dazzling penthouses. Your player, or coterie, are driving down the street or skulking through the alleys, and we have this playing in the background. Ooh, yes. I quite like that. How's about you? Can you smell the exhaust fumes? Alright, theatrics aside, Massive Attack, especially their album Mezzanine, offers a wonderful selection which blends in naturally with virtually any modern day setting, regardless of sect or themes. It feels like the album was made with the world of darkness in mind, if I'm being entirely honest.
Come from way above to bring me love.
Plus, the singing is never overly intrusive and carries the subtle undertones of the gothic punk aesthetic in the lyrics which complement any vampire chronicle. But we are going to need a bit more variety than that. One album's soundtrack could maybe work for a one-shot or short introductory chronicle, but a whole chronicle? Unlikely. So let's go with a tried-and-true classic. Kevin MacLeod is a tried-and-true legend in the YouTube space, for not only a wide variety of musical styles, all of which is free as well as royalty-free for you to employ at your pleasure, but he has also made his way into virtually every YouTube sphere you could imagine. Virtually everyone employs his music. While not all of his work might be the most appropriate for the world of darkness, he has more than an album's worth of songs which are.
What you want, what you want.
Frankly, listing all of the music in his collection fit for the world of darkness is a daunting task fit for a Malkavian. So you'll be pleased to know that I called in a trivial boon owed to me by one to compile a serviceable list, which will be in the description below. Do give them a look if you like what you've heard. Alright, these are all fine and good, but what if you need something a bit more refined? Something suitable for perhaps meeting with your elders, or maybe your chronicle is set around a coterie of elders. Well then have no fear, for the channel Bohren and Der Club of Gore has got you covered. Moody, sleek, and brooding, Bohren and Der Club of Gore have enough songs for a variety of scenes or chronicles for Vampire the Masquerade or the wider world of darkness that strike that fine line between the mysterious dark and gothic punk gloom, intermingling horror and jazz in a marriage of sound. To that degree, check out the artist Bill Frisell if you're looking for maybe something that blends the blues with a bit of attitude, putting a little bit of strut into your cast's walk, or for some, maybe a quiet moment of reflection at the local dive bar. This artist makes me think back to the old classics like the movie Reservoir Dogs. Also, a sly trick might be to find some of your favorite tracks that have the right amount of bite or style to them in a karaoke version. In fact, for an Anarch Chronicle, I stumbled on just such a channel to suit my needs. To that end, consider some of your favorite films set around the same time period as your chronicle. Thinking 80s? Have you considered the soundtrack for Lethal Weapon? 90s? Classic. Give a look into Bad Company. Oh, and don't think I've meant to neglect those of you looking for something in a later period. If anything, I got a good abundance of recommendations, so let me hand out a couple. We start at the top with a personal favorite of mine, Peter Gundry. Need I say more? Regardless if your chronicle is set in the Victorian or Dark Ages, he will have you well sorted out. But he is, of course, joined by Secession Sound, Mike Lazarev, and Luke Faulkner. These 4 artists have a habit of finding their way into any playlist I have for one of my more historic chronicles, as their art isn't only fitting for the setting, but just wonderful pieces of work that help complement any given scene. Naturally, it is up to you, the storyteller, to include them where you feel they fit, but I can safely say they won't lead you astray. Alright, so that's the general stuff out of the way, but what about something for a fight? While combat isn't the focus of the game, in a world as dangerous and often violent as the World of Darkness, a fight is bound to happen. For the modern day, I have to say, I was delighted to find the channel Devil Producer, whose take on classic band greatest hits make a gritty and energetically charged mix, sure to shake up and meet the pace of any gritty modern day's fight. Want something maybe more geared towards the anarchs? What could be better than the likes of Hatebreed? A band whose uplifting lyrics for something better are melded with heavy metal and a boot to the face style of rock, sure to get your anarchs' fists in the air. Are your anarchs joyriding around town, rushing down the narrow city streets in a race with each other, or just smashing mailboxes in the Ventruse domain? Give the classic soundtrack from the movie Lost Boys a shot, or maybe delve into something snarky out of the 80s. What about the Sabbat? It would be a crying shame to neglect the Sword of Cain. I hear they tear the limbs off of people who do that. I don't like the sound of that. Don't worry, Sabbat fans. I have you covered. Oh yeah. Black Sabbath, the Dope Brothers, Ministry, Static X, all of these bands got a place to play in the halls of the Sabbat's communal haven. They can open the door to that dark, black humor and thrashy, gloomy nature which blankets the Sword of Cain. So whether you're just letting them drive on their way to a fight, or setting the tone at the blood feast as the Archbishop comes out to give an opening speech. These guys got you covered. I'd also say, depending on the mood you're going for, don't sleep on video game soundtracks either. Games like The Darkness have great soundtracks that could complement a coterie's run-in with the Sabbat, or even work for a Sabbat chronicle to let them embrace the monster. Similarly, the game Darkest Dungeon has a proud seat at my table in the midst of my Dark Ages Chronicle. And for my Anarch Chronicle, I used a lot of the soundtrack from the old Wu-Tang beat-em-up game. Playing that? Seriously, it was such a good way to pass the time with some of the best death scenes. Good times.
Check this out. Plug in, son. Get connected.
Some of these artists are independent, operating off of YouTube, SoundCloud, Spotify, and who knows, maybe even MySpace if anyone uses it anymore. No? Just me? Others are old and established artists. I didn't set out to make this video with the intent to say my choices are the best or the only ones. Instead, similarly to my art video, I wanted to highlight and showcase maybe some lesser known sources and alternative places to find or look for music for your chronicles. And if I have, then I hope you enjoy the variety and selection, some of which I will add to the description for more that I didn't get to cover because honestly, I could really go on for ages. I never really stopped looking for artwork or music, be it from a movie, a game, or just looking around the internet. If I hear something and I like it, I shuffle it away to be used in a chronicle at some point later on. If nothing else, I hope this will act as a shortcut for some of you and help amplify your game. And with that, I hope you have enjoyed the video. Please like and subscribe if you did, and feel free to comment if you feel I missed out on someone, or some other great source, or ask if I know any good sources for this or that kind of song. I'll try to answer them all in a timely fashion. Farewell.